Today we are watching England versus New Zealand. Now you just have to wait for me to set up the game, which will be starting in around 3 minutes. So I guess we are all just going to have to wait. In the meantime, let's get to know each other very well. I used to be shy, but right now I think I'm actually improving. After failing a lot in this live, honestly, I have to admit to you one thing. I have been failing a lot in these lives. I don't know why I haven't been taking some things very seriously. But when the game is going, I'll be keeping you guys updated. Hopefully this time my phone can actually work instead of failing consistently. Hopefully. Anyway, it's a good thing I can always just do this as we wait. Whoever invented this feature has to be the best person I have ever met, man. Now I just have to wait for about a minute. So as the game begins. Okay, why am I sweating? Yes, when I need sweat the most, that's when it wants to come. Whew. I don't know how I'm gonna set this thing up, man. And I've been trying to find ways to set it up in a way which I could actually see my audience as I post. But what can you do? What can you do? It's all a matter of being patient. Please don't tell me this thing is dead before arrival. Okay, it seems we are basically stuck somewhere. It seems we are basically stuck somewhere. I don't know why these things always start off like this, but I'm confident that things will get well. Hey, I think the game has probably started. Oh, I think it's basically still in the anthem side. I think it is still on the anthem side. Okay, now we are back. Wow, in Florida, the hottest place in all of Americas. Yeah, Guehi is there. Okay, Rashford, Henderson, Maino, Spence, Kwanzaa. Ah, no James. This is very interesting. So we have Rogers and Rashford at the wings. We have Watkins as central attacking midfield. This will be quite the interesting match. We're about to see if Tuchel's ideas will pay off. Honestly, my honest opinion, I don't think it's gonna work. But let's see how things go. New Zealand. Wow, the team seems quite balanced. The team seems quite balanced. I don't know any of the players. But all I know is that the team just seems balanced for some reason. And let us go. Let us go. So both the captains were standing up for the ovation. Wow, Tuchel looks very relaxed. It seems he has basically burned in his fundamentals. So chat, tell me who you want to win this game, England or New Zealand? The moment I said chat, they all disappeared. Oh well. Useless people. So it's a drop ball. Oh, there's a lot of conversation instead of the game starting. Who is that I just saw? So Chris Wood actually plays for New Zealand. Very interesting. I actually never knew that. If Chris Wood is the striker, we are bound to see something very, very interesting. Hello there, Enzo. Hello. How are we doing? We're watching England versus New Zealand. Okay. New Zealand have already started play and they're already in England's box. Oh, this game is happening so fast. The game hasn't even started heating up and England are already in the back foot. Oh, you're from India. I'm from Kenya. My name is Bill. Thank you for joining the live, Enzo. Thank you. Okay. So far, so good from England as Jed Spence tries to break into midfield. But New Zealand are holding their own. Thanks for the like. Thanks for the like. Oh, hello there, Suslo. Hello there, Suslo. Welcome to the live. We're watching England versus New Zealand. And so far, England seem to have put themselves in a good position. Nice to meet you too. Actually, I'm going to support... I actually don't know who I'm going to support. I'm still thinking about it. You know, it's a bit tough to pick teams. Oh, hello there, Suslo. Hello there, Suslo. Oh, you are from Czech Republic. I mean, you're from Czech Republic. You know, I've actually heard of that country, but what can I really say? I don't know much about your culture, though. But I've heard of your country. I've seen you guys play amazingly in the FIFA friendlies, but I haven't really known where I can specifically watch that country. No, I just don't know much about their culture. So far, so good from England. They're just holding possession. I am from my mother. Sigmadik, where are you really from? I know you're from your mother. Where are you from, Sigmadik? Where are you from? Okay, I see you're really serious about that. Don't worry, I'm also from Kenya. I also know I come from my mother, but I know my mother did not bring me to this world alone. My father was also involved as well. Okay, New Zealand seem to be picking up momentum, but so far they're really not out of the... Okay. England seem to have a lot of possession at the moment. But so far there's nobody going forward and causing any problems. No, I'm not watching cricket, I'm watching football. Oh, Indonesia is better football in Southeast Asia. Okay, good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, I'm watching football. I wonder why I've never really seen Indonesia play football. Usually I just watch Japan. Remind me to go check out Indonesian football. Okay, so far so good from, England. They seem to be holding good possession. They even had a chance, but so far it's not looking that great for them. There's just no clinical nature in this team. Okay, the ball is out. Yeah, wait. Let me see. Oh, you're from Indonesia. Ah, that's great. That's great. It's good to interact with different cultures. I'm actually from Kenya. Yes. Tell me more about Indonesia. Tell me more about Indonesia. I usually hear these countries, but I've never actually taken my time to learn much about them. Okay. England are progressing the ball. So far, everything seems to be quite scattered. A lot of chaos at the box, but nothing fancy from England. So far, it's just a pass left, pass right, pass left, pass right. From the back, they're just passing. Once again, New Zealand have possession. They're trying to go forward. Okay. Something wonderful is about to happen, but England have stopped it immediately from their box. If only I knew who the New Zealand players were. I didn't even bother to check their team structure quite well. All I just knew was that they're just well structured. Okay. Alright, in the last match, FIFA friendly Indonesia has won against Oman 3-0. Oh yeah, I did see that in the results. I did see it in the results though. But I wasn't really keen on following that game. But that's great, man. That's great. Indonesia seems to be dominating Southeast Asia. But now you should basically... Anyways, Indonesia in the World Cup. That would make for an interesting match. So sick. Is Indonesia in the World Cup? I would like to really know. So far, England is holding their own against New Zealand. But New Zealand seem to be firing forward. I guess the game is just as predicted. There won't be any clinical nature, but there will be a lot of running. And so far, it seems Rashford has been fouled, so it's a free kick. Okay. So far, there doesn't seem to be much movement up the field. It seems the midfield is quite packed. Seems to be no way through it. Oh, Indonesia doesn't play in the World Cup. Nah, I don't always talk about England. It's only for today. Today is the day that I'm talking about England. Right now I'm talking about England because we are watching England versus New Zealand, which is basically a friendly. This is just a friendly. Okay. Good chance from the other side, but unfortunately went out wide. Let's see what happened in the replay. Oh, Rashford tried a long distance chance, but he has only been able to win a corner. Now let's see if this enters in the box. Yes, they play against New Zealand. Yes, they play against New Zealand. And so far, things are looking good for England in terms of possession, but no goals scored so far. But then again, I won't expect anything in 8 minutes. Okay, England seem to be pressing, but New Zealand seem to have a good game plan. Okay, New Zealand are open to the box, but They were easily thwarted. Don't worry. Don't worry. That's why I'm here. That is why I am here. Right now it's 0-0. Right now it's 0-0 between England and New Zealand. Nobody has scored yet. Okay, Spence tries to go forward, or is it Kwanzaa? I don't know who this right back is. Okay, a lot of tiki-taka in the box, but no product just yet. But the ball goes out for a throw-in. Okay, New Zealand try to break away, but England have them pegged in their own half as they try to basically close them in. Okay, they're trying to break inside, but so far there's a lot of slow movements in the middle as they try to get inside the box, but New Zealand are well prepared for England. And so far so good from England because they're able to basically keep New Zealand inside their own half. And right now they're basically keeping them within the 16th yard box. I don't know whether it's the 16th or the 20th yard box, but I just know it's just within the D. But the good chance has been thwarted as New Zealand try to break away from the England press. Now it's only just one player going for the ball. Chris Wood tries to control the ball, gives a pass away. Now they have basically found an open space inside England's box as England tried to defend, but unfortunately for them, the ball goes out for a goal kick. Oh, we are still in the first half. We are still in the first half. The game just started like right now. Right now we are like at around 11 minutes. Okay. England restart play. Pickford tries to pass away as they try to get away from their 16th yard box. They're successful. Now they're headed to midfield. Possession has been reacquired. I think it's possibly a free kick, but let's see what's going on. Okay, play restarts from the free kick. As England push forward inside the New Zealand half. Now it's Jed Spence trying to pick some numbers in the middle. I think that's Mino trying to pick a pass, but it's too crowded. Okay. A lot of passing, but no end product so far. I don't know whether the ball is out for a corner or a throw-in. That ball kind of disappeared. I kind of didn't have a moment to look at it. Yeah, sure. Go check the lineup. Go check the lineup. Honestly, the only player I know from New Zealand is Chris Wood. The other ones I'm pretty familiar with, but the problem is, let's just say the clarity from where I'm watching the game is a bit shaky, so I can't tell who's really moving. Oh, Alec Watkins basically had some good space but missed. To be quite honest, I'm actually watching under quality of 480p. That's why it's actually difficult for me to decipher the players. Now, if it was a bit of a good quality, like around 720 or 1080, could have actually been a bit good. Don't worry, right now the ball is going out for a goal kick from the New Zealand side. Okay. New Zealand are trying to reach the other side, but unfortunately England is making it too hard for them at midfield. New Zealand go again. Ball goes into their wing back, or is it their full back? Now the ball is going forward, but unfortunately they're thwarted easily somewhere close to the midfield. Now New Zealand retreat back to their half. As they retreat back to their half, back to their goalkeeper, as they try to restart play again. Right now we're almost approaching a quarter of the hour, and so far it's 0-0 from either side. Oh, you believe that England will score above 2 goals? Even I'm pretty confident that England is going to do that. Yes, I believe England is going to do that. Although time will tell. Because so far there seems to be a lot of dilly-dally with England. And their lineup is a bit experimental. So I really just can't be that confident. But let's see how things go. If you're right, who knows? If you have a paper, I can send something. If I can. I don't think I really can at the moment. You know, my people, I rarely even use that thing. Okay, New Zealand start play. So far, so good from England, but New Zealand are trying to break them apart. Now England are flying away with the ball in midfield as they try to pick out their attackers, but the ball has been rolled back. So far, so good as they try to maintain the tempo of the game and see which players they can pick out from midfield. Okay, Rashford has now arrived at the box as he tries to pick out a player but decides to just pass it wide. Oh, that's actually a good effort. Yeah, he basically aimed it from distance, but unfortunately it was headed nowhere. I don't know who that player is because it's hard to decipher with 480p. Okay. Ball starts from centre-back play as England try to break through, but New Zealand remain compact at the box, making it harder for England to try to find a way in. Okay, England with the possession, but unfortunately New Zealand is having them pegged. But New Zealand is stronger to maybe they can. Underdog team in the World Cup. Yeah, I also believe New Zealand can be the underdog team. Yeah, so far New Zealand seem to be controlling most of the ball. They seem to be having those good chances in which they are capable of going forward, but England are also good. But yeah, New Zealand can actually be the underdog in the World Cup. But I hardly doubt it. There are a lot of countries that can be considered the underdog. There are just so many countries. I hope you have seen the group of death, man. If you have seen the group of death, I'm pretty sure that's where you're getting your underdog. For New Zealand, it's 50-50 at the moment. Let's just say it's 50-50 at that point. Okay. New Zealand with the possession once again as they try to pick their players. But England's pressing is becoming too much for them. Okay. New Zealand. They're basically in their half of England as they try to basically break down the Brits. But unfortunately, loose ball. Now Rashford is going forward. Okay, Rogers goes forward, but unfortunately, no accuracy. Harry Kane gives a pass. Okay, Kwanzaa in the box. A lot of chaos, but unfortunately the ball just went out for a throw-in. Seems Ollie Watkins was trying too hard, but unfortunately for him, New Zealand defense was very adept to his movements. Okay, ball starts from a throw-in as England with the possession once again next to the 16th yard box of New Zealand as they try to break inside. But New Zealand are not making it easy. Okay, good from England, but unfortunately ball sent away. Possession is being maintained next to the 16th yard box. Rogers tried to basically get to the ball, but unfortunately New Zealand have it covered. Unfortunately, New Zealand have it covered. Now it's back to the corner with Rashford on top of it. Okay, Rashford sends the ball in. But somebody tried an outrageous effort, but that ball didn't get in. Yeah, maybe Argentina might defend it. But here we're watching England versus New Zealand. So, what do you mean by Argentina might defend it? What do you mean? I'm very curious to know. So far, England have been having a lot of chances next to the box, but they just don't have that person who's breaking in between the lines to basically get to the ball. Or maybe they have that type of person, but they have just not been able to get a clear-cut opportunity. Okay, you believe that England might actually win the World Cup again? I think I'll mark that comment. England winning the World Cup again would actually be the biggest surprise. Espanyol. Now, Espanyol is a very, very interesting team to pick. Yeah? Because also Spain really does have some really good players, like Lamine Yamal, maybe Cucurella, but I don't know. Anything can happen at this point. That is why we are basically waiting for June 11th. I don't know from where you guys live, man, because from where I live, I don't think I'll be able to get any sleep. Because imagine staying up the whole night just to watch the World Cup, man. I mean, by the time morning arrives, you're too tired. Okay, between Espanyol or France, but Germany, it's good too. In fact, that is one of the teams that I think might actually do the impossible. Germany. I mean, to me, I think it's possibly Germany. Oh, you're from India. Oh, hello. I'm actually from Kenya. Thank you for interacting with me, Antari Piduta. Let's just call you Auntie. Let's just call you Auntie. Or should I just call you Anta? It depends. I know they have gone for a cooling break. And so far, Tuchel looks a bit focused. He looks a bit stoic with his players. He's telling them, guys, you have to press forward. You have to go for goal. I think Tuchel is basically done giving them advice. And I think Harry Kane is basically not paying any attention because I think he should be the one who's basically a bit lackluster in this game. No, if you expect Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins to finish your chances, then I'm sorry, man. There's just something you're not doing right. It's sad we have a billion people in our nation and still we haven't participated in any FIFA World Cup. Don't worry. Even we haven't participated in the World Cup. Even I don't understand why France would lose against Ivory Coast. Don't worry, that result kind of surprised me, but if you watch the game very closely, France have a good attack, but if you notice the defense was missing key players, and the attack just didn't have that rhythm with it. Especially since they decided to bench Dembele, they benched Due because of, they played in the Champions League final. And also Saliba was also not in the game, so it means the experience was just not there. That's what I think might have led to France losing to Ivory Coast. Because remember, Ivory Coast might have had all their star players. They even had Ahmad on the field. In Kenya, only, let's just say a select few follow cricket. But this country is basically dominated by football fans. I can't lie to you, man. We may have been conquered by the British, we may have been colonized by the British, but we basically follow football. Yeah, we don't follow cricket, unfortunately. Maybe the people that follow cricket are the people who are actually playing it. A chosen few. Okay. Okay, in 2003. Yes. The problem was that I wasn't born back then. And I was basically born in... Actually, I was born back then, but let's just say I just didn't have the brain to understand much about cricket. Hey, to say the midfielders in France are not that good is a very bold claim. Yeah? I don't know much about their midfielders. I only know much about mostly the attackers, but the midfielders I'm not so sure about. Yeah? I'm not so sure about their midfielders. You have actually brought up a good point. I'm not really so sure about France's midfielders because in that game they seemed so stiff. They didn't seem to move the ball around much. Okay, England is really trying its hardest to defend, but New Zealand is not making it easy for them. Okay, Spence is trying to pick a pass, but he decides to pass backwards. I think the last time we were in the FIFA ranking, I think it was around 120s there. I think we were around 120 in the FIFA ranking. Yeah, we were around 120 there. Some countries really did go above us. Some countries went above us. Here's the one thing. India basically hasn't been participating in football for a very long time. That's why you feel like as if Kenya is better than India. And to be fair, you might be right. Kenya might be better than India, but to me, I think it's because India haven't been playing much football. Oh, you're trying to understand English. Don't worry. Sadly, I wish there was another language I could basically speak in, but I can only speak English. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. India is actually a sleeping giant, but to me, I think the only reason why India so far isn't participating in football is because of, what can I say? The law reforms in your country is very strict. Yeah, the law reforms in your country is very strict. And for a long time, it has basically limited your country from, participating in Asian football and some other things that I really can't name because I don't even remember them. But me, I think mostly the reason why India might be suffering, yes, corruption. We also suffer from corruption here in Kenya. Though over time it has reduced, but still, the corruption is still also rampant in our country. That's why sometimes our players don't even care about the football that much. They only care about how much money it brings them. Most of our politicians basically don't care much about football. But football in Kenya has actually risen because of the fans. Because the Kenyan people have decided to become really good fans, but most of them just follow Premier League football. Times are changing in Kenya, but I just don't know what will happen with India. But times have changed in Kenya. That's why you see we are basically doing better in the FIFA ranking. England have had another chance and they've squandered it. England have had another chance and they've squandered it. Mino was actually moving pretty well, but again, no clean coolness from England. Wait, just a minute. That's a very dangerous creature to see in the middle of the night. That's a very dangerous creature to see in the middle of the night. Yeah, the same people follow EPL and La Liga more than Indian Football League. Yeah, to be quite honest, we only follow the EPL, bro. Nobody should lie to you that they follow English. They follow their own football. Here we only follow EPL teams. If you try to follow any other team, man, it will be tough for you to get the conversation in. So you're saying if India is asleep in there, then why did you guys lost against Malaysia? Let me tell you something about Kenya, man. We're not really that good at football. Only a few players have ever played for the EPL. Some have never even seen the light of day in the EPL. They've basically been playing in local leagues. That's why in a moment we're basically struggling. And Kenya's never really been a giant in FIFA rankings. They've never really been a giant at all. In fact, I would just say if people say Indian is a sleeping giant, then I would actually believe them. But for my country, we have never really been giants. Because the football here has been corrupted so much to the point where if you try to watch local football in Kenya, it's even very difficult. You can't even watch it on TV. You basically have to go to the stadiums themselves. Actually, I support Chelsea. I support Chelsea. You know, from my profile, you can see I support Chelsea. You know, right now I am trying to calm down because there's literally a huge bug on top over here, man. It's a really tough thing to handle. Okay, as I said, the federation chooses Indian national team so the undeserving ones are playing. Yeah. Same thing also happens in my country. The undeserving ones are the ones that are basically, you know, playing the football. While the ones that are basically playing well are usually just shoved out of the corner. In fact, if you ask me, in most friendly matches, even the teams that are playing abroad, they usually don't play in those friendly matches. They only choose people playing in the local leagues, you know, in the KPL, also known as the Kenyan Premier League. So far, it's not looking good for either side because they've tried everything. And I'm pretty surprised that England have actually had 10 attempts. Yeah, this team wasn't supposed to have 10 attempts, maybe 5 because they're not really that good. Oh, you support PSG? That's interesting. That's a good team to support, Sigmatic. PSG is a very good team to support. If I was supporting France football, I would also support PSG. PSG, they have such a wonderful club. But the only problem is that they started to rest in between, you know, the knockout stages and the quarterfinals. So yeah, we only appreciated them because they beat Arsenal. But otherwise, if they don't meet with Arsenal again, nobody's supporting them. Have you heard of Sunil Chetri? Oh, I supported Chelsea since, what can I say, since 2012 when they won the Champions League. That's when I had actually started supporting Chelsea. Let's just say back then I was a bit young, so I didn't know most of the players' names. Oh, you supported PSG since 2014. Interesting. What was PSG like during those days? You know, back during those days, PSG wasn't really much of a team that you would basically say they were actually that great. Okay, it seems that England have gotten some really good chances, but the goalkeeper has really worked very hard to keep them out of it. Wow, the goalkeeper has really made a very wonderful save. stopping another attempt. That's like around 12 attempts from England. But unfortunately, it's not looking good for the other side. Seems the bug is gone. Or is it? I don't want to wake up one day and then I have a bug suddenly attacking me in my sleep. Okay, corner kick. So far, nothing is happening. Oh, their ball position. The ball position so far, I don't know whether you're talking about this game. So far, the ball possession, I don't know much about it. They haven't really shown the stats for ball possession. They haven't shown the stats for ball possession. So far, I think it's 50-50 because the way New Zealand is moving and the way England is moving, they're almost similar. Though New Zealand are basically moving around their own box more. PSG, Man City has fewer fans globally compared to Barcelona, Madrid, and Chelsea, etc. due to oil money. Yeah, it's very true. Those teams are basically fueled by oil money. But usually I don't like to look at football that way. Usually I just watch football for the game. I usually don't care about what people usually go through in order to get their teams there. Because here's the thing. If we start to say, oh, this team is basically smaller because of oil money, because of that, it starts to become a blame game. But yeah, PSG and Man City are really good teams. They're really good teams. But I basically cannot judge them because of oil money. Usually I don't judge any team because of where they get their money. Because remember, if your football club suddenly gets money, and then you suddenly start performing good, I think it's just a message for other teams to perform better. Remember, Chelsea, even in 2003 or 4, when they started to perform really well, people started to point out it's because we had a rich billionaire basically funding our club. Yeah? Hence, it killed the joy of the game. Hence, even Arsene Wenger started complaining, saying that, oh, we are basically making the league bad. Yet, if you look at the best league in the world, at the moment, it's the Premier League. But usually I don't like to discuss football politics. That's not what I've come to do here. So whenever it comes to oil money, I usually don't blame them. Even if it has fewer fans, let those fewer fans celebrate. Usually I don't like bringing politics in football. Because politics kills football. And that's what happened to Chelsea. That's why these days you see us playing well, but we're not playing as we did back in the past. But I still support them because I know there's still a team inside there. Okay. So far, so good from New Zealand, but England have basically pressed them, and the New Zealand players seem to be quite shaky. But so far, we're basically headed to half time since we've already passed like around 30 minutes. So far, I haven't really seen anybody do anything impactful in the midfield. I've just seen shots basically go wide or basically get close, but the goalkeepers basically get into them. Because so far, so good from England. But it's not looking easy for them. Okay. I feel like the first half might actually end 0-0. But let's see if there's actually a surprise, because the ball was out for a corner. Oh yes, Tottenham actually did survive relegation. To me, I actually found that as the biggest surprise this season. Because there was no way Tottenham was supposed to survive this season. There was just no way. Because my team is still relatively young. PSG was founded in the 1970s and PSG started to dominate the league starting in 2013 when they won their third League Cup. Oh yeah, that's actually great, man. That's actually great. That's why I think that's why PSG isn't supported by many people, because it's really young, and most people basically didn't know PSG until the current days. I mean, if you're able to support such a young team like that and avoid the traditional giants, good for you, man. Good for you. Good for you. There's always something that I've never really understood about PSG. PSG always seem to have this one problem that I've never really seemed to understand from them. Especially in this current age. Like, those guys really don't care how much they concede. But when they start scoring, oh boy, they're a very dangerous team. They are a very dangerous team when they start to score. But the biggest problem that I basically see that will affect PSG mostly in the future is depending too much on a specific set of players. And also the fact that ever since they basically, when we have Euro, why do we need the League of Nations? I think it's a shit competition and should be abolished. Yeah. To be quite honest, it's competitions really do not deserve the light of day. But remember, we don't control the systems. We don't control the systems. UEFA controls those systems, plus some other footballing organizations. If it was only controlled by UEFA, who knows? Maybe there would have been some standards. But it's a lot of leagues basically combining, a lot of football bodies basically combining and picking out these things. So I think that is why these things keep on happening, because most of the time those football basically put our players under a lot of stress and pressure. Like, you can find a lot of players have played a lot of competitions, man, to the point where they even get tired. And I think that's what has basically been affecting my club. That's why they've been playing a bit sluggishly. I think the problem is FIFA. I don't think it's UEFA necessarily, but it's FIFA. That's why the League of Nations always looks like a shit competition. Because they just want to milk more money from the people. Anyway, the only reason why I'm basically just deciding to talk about this football politics stuff is because England so far is not doing anything to score at the moment. Oh, right now it's around, let me see from my, it's around 11:44 in the night. It's around 11:44 in the night. It's around 11:44 in the night. I bet in India it's around 3 hours ahead. So so by that logic, it should be around. I don't know if I can basically guess, but that's a very late time to be awake, though. In India, that's a very late time to be awake. I think it's around 3. Either it's 2 headed to 3, I think, in India. Okay, so far so good. These guys are basically on a sludge fest. From beginning to end, no end product from either side. And I gotta look at my back, man. That bag could be anyone. If there's one thing I hate, it's bugs in the night. Oh my god. 2:15 a.m. I guess you'll need a lot of coffee. Oh my god. Also for us, it's basically scheduled that way, but at least yours will be a bit earlier. At least you'll be able to get some sleep in. Oh, my name is Bill. My name is Bill. My name is Bill. Bill for Bill Clinton, Bill for Bill Gates. Yeah, my name is Bill. Okay, so far so good from England. But it is not looking good for the other side. Oh, your name is Aditya. That's a very good name. At least now I can pronounce Aditya. That's a good name. At least I can pronounce Aditya. And I also used to watch Z World. So the name Aditya actually brings back many memories. Brings back many good memories from the soaps I used to watch. Okay, good from England, but New Zealand is basically fighting with their life. Oh, yes, I think he's also Indian too, but I can't basically tell. Yeah, it is an Indian name, but I think actually he's from Indonesia. Yeah, now I remember. He's actually from Indonesia. He's actually from Indonesia. He's actually from Indonesia. I wonder if Indians and Indonesia share some form of culture. That could be interesting to learn. Hmm? Honestly, for my religion, I'm a Christian. I wonder what your religions are. I would really love to know. Okay, and Dutta is my middle name. If you know my long name, it's Aditya Dutta Pratama. Ah, that's a very interesting name. Aditya Dutta Pratama. A very interesting name. A very interesting name. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for the clarification, Auntie. Thank you for the clarification. Oh, I think I should call you Anta. Yeah, thank you for the clarification. I think you all worship Hindu. I think you're all Hinduists. Yeah. I'm actually Christian, by the way. I'm Christian. In my country, it's either you're a Christian Muslim or you're part of the Hindu community. The Hindus here are very rare. Not that they're very rare, but they're the minority in our country. They are the minority in our country. Oh, you're Muslim. Yeah, that's great, Adi. That's great. I'm actually Christian. I also used to have some good Muslim friends, but since we moved out, I haven't been able to be in contact with them. It's been a long time since we talked with my old friends from there. Yeah, he used to be my best friend. We even used to watch those Indian soaps together, but I don't know how he's doing at the moment because we haven't been talking for a very long time. Oh, you go to church too? Ah, that's great, man. That's great. So you are also a Christian, Anta? Oh, it seems Hurricane has already scored. Let's see how that goal went. It's been a long time coming, but Hurricane has scored for England. Okay, let's see what happened in that goal. Let's see what happened. After this long sludge fest of a match, I've finally gotten a goal. Okay, let's see how things are going. Oh, it was just a simple pass and a header from Hurricane. But I don't think that pass was anywhere simple. What can I say? Basically, Hurricane moved like a target man inside the box and headed the ball in. He moved like a target man. That's amazing from England. So right now it's 1-0. All before even the second half, because right now we're just remaining with 2 minutes of stoppage time. Oh, so you do go to the temple. Oh, Anta, you do go to the temple, but during Christmas you occasionally go to the church. That's great. That's great. It's good to explore more religious practices. Although for me, if I started to go to a Hindu temple to basically seek blessings, my own mother would basically kill me. Or she might not even spare me because, my mother she's a very devout Christian. Hmm? And right now we have approached halftime. Now we can basically have a good conversation with each other. Yeah, my mom is a very devout Christian, man. If my mom ever found me close to any place, she would basically lecture me the whole night. But yeah, I would definitely love to experience other religions. Right now we have gone into halftime. I wonder where Adi went. But I guess he's basically waiting for the second half just like the rest of us. I guess he's just waiting for the second half. Oh, no, it wasn't really our country that had conflict with Pakistan. I don't think we have ever really had any conflict with any country from Asia. We don't have any conflict with Pakistan. Maybe that was another country, but we usually don't create conflicts with Pakistan. Our countries just conflict with other things, but not Pakistan. Oh, he's talking about India. Oh, I don't know. I don't know much about that. I didn't see that. Oh, we basically don't have any conflict with Indians. We don't have any conflict with them. Yeah, we don't have. I don't think even those two countries basically have any conflict with each other, and we also don't have any conflict with them. At the moment, I don't think we have any conflict with them. I mean, if there was any news about us being in conflict with them, we would know. Okay, it's going on since our partition in 1947. Oh, India and Pakistan. Yeah, a lot of conflicts usually happen between those two countries. A lot of conflicts happen between those two countries. But honestly, I've never really followed the news to learn more about India and Pakistan wars. But I did see it in a movie. A movie did actually convince me of the conflict happening there, but I never really followed it up. To me, I think the main cause of conflict is when people have two different conflicting views. See, when people have two conflicting views, that is when conflict begins. When two people have two views that do not align with each other, I think that's where conflict actually begins. And I also used to study history, so I find this very, very interesting. I find it very uplifting. I used to study history back in high school. What can I say? I've never really tried to study the history between Pakistan and India. Oh yeah. Actually, I've never actually thought about it that way. Pakistan claims a part called Kashmir as their own. Oh, no wonder there's a lot of conflict around these two countries. I see. There's a lot of fights between these two sides. Honestly, I think I've heard of that one, but I don't think they'll be able to resolve anything at the moment. Those two sides will continue conflicting until there's actually a winner in between. I don't think there'll ever be any peace between those two regions, man. Because from what I've heard, those guys have really been at it for years. But who knows? Something might happen, just not now. Let's just say they were united, but remember, the British can unite two places, but that doesn't mean that those two places agree with each other. Because if you ask me, the British are a bunch of smart people. If you ask me, I think they basically made the Pakistanis disagree with the Indians so that they do not work together to get rid of them. So I basically think the British are basically responsible for, the two conflicts because they're the ones that basically drew the two maps. Oh yeah, I'll be able to Google it. Kashmir. I think I'll be able to Google Kashmir. I will try to Google. Seems my brother here has emails. Let's see what they're all about. Now this guy has forgotten he used to put his stuff inside my computer so I can basically see what he does. Oh, this guy is really wasting his money on Netflix and other stuff. Usually I don't watch movies from Netflix Because to me, I don't really see it right that you must pay for movies. I've never seen the reason why anybody should pay for movies. Anyway, we were still here talking between Kashmir, Pakistan, and India. To me, I don't really think those two people should be conflicting, but with how the British drew the borders, I think that's what's basically causing conflict. We even have the same problem with our Somali people. Yeah, there's some Somali people that believe they're not even supposed to be in Kenya. And ever since then, it has brought conflict in our own borders between us and Somalia. I hope you have heard of one of our incidences, like the Westgate Mall, where people were basically dead in a convenience store. All because of this same type of conflict. But I just don't know much about the details. But all I know is that the Somali people were basically mad with the Kenyans because they basically want to go back to Somalia, but Kenya is holding them in our borders. I think they were basically locked out from their families, and that conflict has been going on for years. So let me see what I can do during the meantime, because the thing that I'm using at the moment is a bit down. Actually, it's not a bit down, it's basically in commercials mode, but I have to wait for it to finish so that I can actually play the games once again. Okay, till 1947 there was only India. No, Pakistan was here after partition in 1947. A part of India broke off and became Pakistan. Ah, interesting. Interesting. I think it was part of the British. I think the British might have actually led to the partitioning happening. Because remember, the Indians, remember the British did not want the Indians, to become together. So they decided to give some people education, while others they decided to throw them off away. And I think that might have possibly led to the partition, but I don't know much about it. I don't know much about it. And I can't claim to be a guy who has basically visited Indian history. The history that I know is basically from my country and basically a bit of Europe, because there's actually this place I watch. The main reason of the partition was conflict between the Hindu and the Muslims. I've heard of these conflicts. I'm basically remembering these things in little memories. But yeah, the Hindus and the Muslims usually have a lot of conflict in those areas. The Hindus and the Muslims usually have a lot of conflicts. The country of their own, so Pakistan created a post-partition. Very, very interesting. I learned something new every single day. I even forgot that Muslims are part of India and Pakistan. Though there's some Muslims that are also in India. There's some Muslims that are also in India. But what can I really say? These things basically go back to ancient times. These things go back even into ancient times. There's actually a soap opera that I watched between Muslims and Hindus. And I can tell you one thing. There was a conflict between these two sides, even in the past. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those same Muslims are still in India. I think basically it's just a lot of conflict between the two sides, but I don't know what's basically causing it. Because if you started to say that the Muslims are basically only in Pakistan, and you'll still find some Hindus there, I don't know what I can really say. What I can say is that both sides are basically just stubborn. Because you'll find some Hindus inside Pakistan and you'll find some Muslims inside India. I don't know what I can truly say about that one. I don't know what I can truly say about that one. So tell me about Indian. Wait, we have all religions in India, be it Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Parsi, Jain, everything. Yeah, Indians actually do have almost all those religions. They really do. And to be quite honest, I can actually confirm this, though I don't know much about India. All I do know is that from where I come from, the Indians in our country, they're a bit racist. What can I really say? The Indians in our country are really a bunch of very racist people. Hmm? They usually don't like to see people like me around their regions. And even in this country, they basically just hide amongst us. They basically don't even talk to us in very gentle manners. Especially when you work for an Indian, so it's usually a bit tough for us because sometimes those people are very discriminatory when it comes to us because they've never, it's not that they've never seen people like us, it's just that they don't like people like us for some strange reason. Do you care to clarify? Yes, they're very rich. They're very rich. They started businesses. Oh, hello Enzo. Welcome back. We're talking about Indians and religion at the moment as we wait for the game to resume. So, Indians in our country are very, very rich. In fact, they have started many businesses. In fact, before even Kenya became colonized, the Indians were the ones who were basically running trade in our country. They basically made it easy for the British to colonize us. Because you remember, the British also brought them to build the railway, the Kenya railway that connects to Uganda, so that they can basically get to the heart of Buganda Kingdom, which is basically Uganda. Oh, that's great. Good thing you've come for a history lesson. You see, in our country, yeah, Indians basically came with the British to build a railway. They were building this railway so that they can find ways to pick resources, bring in soldiers, to basically fight against the African resistance. Yes, there were officers actually sent to Kenya to basically, help the British do a lot of things. Some even died along the way due to man-eating lions. Oh, what is the meaning of the throne system in India? Okay, now that I don't know. I'm not really affiliated with the Indians. I'm basically African. I don't know much about their throne system, but they really do have those systems, and that's how they choose to live in this country. Indians also came with their own ways of living. If you have noticed, Indians in our country are completely segregated from normal society in Kenya. Like you'll never see these people mixing or doing things together that much. Like you might see, but very little. Okay, there is no throne system. We have a democracy. We have a prime minister elected who is elected and president too. Oh yeah. Yes, Indians actually do have a president. They do actually have a president. Much of Indian culture is kind of confusing to me. That's why I would really like to learn more in this live as well, as we are watching football. The Americans call it soccer for some strange reason, but we call it football. Because we were mostly colonized by the British. Yeah, I'll visit India. I will try to visit India. I wonder. I'm also wondering as well. Did it really exist during those times in India? Please give us some answers, Anta. Give us some answers. I think also Enzo can chip in as well. I may have forgotten some few names along the way. Oh, you still had kings. Ah, very interesting. We also used to have kings as well. But let's just say the kings were basically not in Kenya. They were basically on the other side, inside Kenya. But I don't think Kenya really had kings. They basically had warriors and elders. If you people had kings in your dynasty, that's actually kind of great. Until the British came and ruined everything and started doing their funny business in our countries. But who knows? Maybe we should thank the British because they actually united us together. Right now I'm talking to Enzo. Right now I'm talking to Anta. And right now I'm talking to Aditya. Right here. All because of the British. Don't you find that fascinating? Wow, that's a really long break they're taking. That is a long break they love taking. Okay, now these substitutions look interesting. These substitutions look interesting. Oh, they also built railway lines in your country as well. Ah, it seems we all suffered the same way. It seems we all suffered the same way. They also built railway lines in your country. It seems back then the British basically had no way of building roads because it would have needed more resources. How long was India colonized by the British? If I may say, my country was colonized by the Dutch for 350 years. Wow, that is a long time of colonization. Aditya, that is a long time of colonization. That is a very, very long time. Ours was around, let's say, 70 years. Let's just say around 70. Didn't even fill a whole century. But those are 3 centuries. Plus 5 decades. Hey. I think the Dutch also conquered South Africa as well. The Dutch also reached South Africa, but what can I say? They were a bit divided since the British were also there, since even the Africans themselves were just in the middle. But 350 years, that's a long time, man. That's a very long time. The only place which was basically colonized by the Oman, or should I say the Arabs, was only in Mombasa, but the rest of the places was basically African territory. Okay, now we're back in the second half. Okay, British came to India in 1600 but started ruling around 1750 till 1947, around 200 years. That was also in India before the British, but only made trade, not to colonize. Wow. It seems the British might have had a lot of work to do in those 2 countries for them to basically come to Africa. They have really done a lot of damage to you people. 200 years. That's a long time, brother. That's a long time. Back then we were still hunting with spears. Yeah? Back then we were still trading full cows for normal spices. That's a very, very long time. That is a very, very long time. Every day is a learning experience from these 3 beautiful cultures. 1750. Hey, that's a very, very long time. Back then, Kenya wasn't even approached by the British. Maybe, let's just say the missionaries came around the 1800s. Yes, I think the 1800s, that's when the missionaries came and then the British followed later. Okay, continent always has... Actually, it's because of minerals. Actually, these people in our country, people really don't want to fight. In our continent, people really don't want to fight. The reason why they fight is because of the things that Africa has, the minerals. And the British are the ones who created this system where basically every global superpower wants our minerals. And this is those minerals that they use to make things that everybody is using at the moment, the phones, the computer, but mostly that happens in the Congo because they have an abundance of it. And also because of religious beliefs. There's just a lot of reasons why there are a lot of conflicts, but it's only specific to certain areas in Africa. It's only specific to certain areas in Africa where resources are high. Oh, you still have monuments built by the British. Oh, don't worry, we also have monuments built by the British, we also have some built by the Arabs. Let's just say we have a mixture of all. We just have a mixture of all of them. Even the Portuguese came to our country, but they never came to conquer, they came to trade. And they're the people who gave us maize. I see they've also brought in Anthony Gordon and these other fake characters. Like Jude Bellingham and Nico Riley. Can see, wait, is there 2 Chris Woods in the game? I never knew. Oh, hey there, Enzo. Enzo, you've actually been quiet. Say something. Say something. Tonight I'm actually feeling generous. Tonight I'm actually feeling generous with questions, even if it's about history. Okay, there's a state in India where still Portuguese people live. Ah, interesting, interesting. The Portuguese still live in India. Okay. That's quite interesting. This means the countries at war only... Yes, they only want to take natural resources. They only want to take natural resources and basically sell it to, you know, other Europeans. And they basically hide it. Usually they try to find a way, you know, to make those minerals sellable to those European countries. That's why these civil wars always happen. In fact, all these people, they basically fund the wars within Africa. Yeah? So it's basically our own people fighting our own people. But in Kenya, it seems the operations are quite controlled because it's rare to see them take natural resources in our country. But it does happen in our country. It also happens in the Congo. It also happens in many places. Right now, even Burkina Faso has combined with other countries to prevent this. Yes, Burkina Faso has also said enough is enough. That is why even the French right now is trying to come to our country. Because they have no other options. Yeah, actually, the only reason why he's basically attacking Iran is quite simple. If you try to basically take the oil from Iran, why do you think Trump is involved in Iran-Israel war? Obviously, due to crude oil. Yeah, he's actually involved in it due to crude oil. But I don't know much about their wars, man. But let's just say the war is basically affecting our country. Let's just say the countries that depend on oil. The only country that depends on oil. Let's just say all countries that highly depend on oil. Completely. In terms of transport, in terms of trade, they basically depend on oil. I think those are the countries that are suffering bankruptcy. But I don't know which one specifically. In our country right now, the oil prices have spiked. The oil prices have spiked. Unfortunately. Yeah, everybody is suffering. Yeah, that's actually my point. Everyone here is suffering. And I don't know what is the purpose of this war. Maybe there's something that Trump knows that we don't. Trump knows something that we don't know. And so far, England seem to be having a really great time out there. Now that they're just 1-0 up. But so far, there's just no impact between these guys. So far, New Zealand haven't done anything to scare England. But let's see if we'll basically get more goals. Let us see if we get more goals. What I can truly... Trump is a modern day Hitler. Yeah, you might actually be right. He's actually a modern day Hitler. But instead of killing people directly, He's basically just trying his best to make things look clean. While in reality, he's basically just doing some pretty disgusting stuff behind the scenes. But then again, I don't know. Maybe, there are very many ways of viewing war. There are just very many ways of viewing war. On one side, it's the Iranian people that are actually suffering in the conflict, but people like us in other countries, we basically don't know what they're going through. Maybe you might actually be right about him being a modern day Hitler. Because the things that they are basically experiencing, we don't experience it that way because we haven't gotten into conflict with them just yet. The same way with the US residents, they're basically unaware of what Trump and his men are basically doing in Iran. In fact, nobody's even sure what's happening there. I mean, they've basically tried to come in talks, but so far they're basically in a stalemate. I wonder how long the war is going to continue. It seems the US could actually be falling apart, but we just don't realize it just yet. Okay. So far, so good from England. But they're unable to find the pass inside. Okay, the US residents were for sure high on weed when they elected him again. Honestly, I think they were actually high. But then again, the USA is a very, very tough place to govern. Honestly, I can't even blame those guys. The USA is actually a very tough place to govern. On one hand, they had Joe Biden, but Joe Biden was also doing his things. I hope the situation... Yeah, man. I also hope the situation improves the world, man. I'm all in for peace, man. I also don't like wars and conflicts. Because even my country is a very peaceful place from the inside. The only problem with our country is corruption. Corruption is the reason why right now there seems to be unrest even in our schools. At the moment, our schools are basically going through a lot. Yeah, students are just burning schools. Yeah, right now we're waiting for the finance bill to basically be passed through parliament and to see whether the clauses that have been written inside will be used to exploit the people in our country. So we're basically waiting for them to make a move. Yeah, if they make good moves, we don't protest and we have a peaceful country. But if they try anything crazy, people will go on strike. People will basically protest in the streets. Yes, the whole of Africa has corruption. And all of these things were caused by how other European nations were running the country, especially the French. We might actually hate on the British, but the British were not completely bad. But the French, dangerous people. Yeah, South Sudan is full of corruption, especially from the RSF who are basically terrorizing them and nobody's doing anything. Yes, it's actually a common problem everywhere. Some people depend on corruption. That's the problem. That's why corruption can never end. Because corruption has been normalized so much so that it feels normal. That's the reason why corruption never seems to end or cannot even be controlled. Because it has basically... Oh, sorry, my network was kind of off. Like 300 billion can be stolen from your country and it's like nobody really cares. The show just continues. Most of the time you want to be an activist, but then people get abducted. Yeah, there's actually no corruption in the UAE. But let me tell you something about the UAE. There's no corruption in the UAE because it's a controlled place. There's no corruption in the UAE because they're not the one doing any work. Plus they have so much resources that even if you try to steal, you're basically going to be dealt with. Okay, in my country, those who embezzle billions are sentenced to 3 to 5 years, but those who steal food are sentenced up to 6 to 10 years. Wow. It seems in Indonesia there's actually some good accountability. In my country, These people get bailed out. Nobody cares, man. If you have money, that's when they send you to those 6 to 10 years. But in my country, if you embezzle billions, nobody really cares, man. A single bailout will just make them shut up. A single bailout is enough to make them just shut up and continue stealing from you. The only way we can resolve our issues is through elections, unfortunately. People beg for a better country in our country, but unfortunately, when you try to do something like that, you must ensure that you have good people in the government to support you. Otherwise, you could be a dead man in the next day. And so far, it's looking good between these two sides, but so far, no impact from either side. Yes, now even our currency is weakening. Yes, it's true. Everybody's currency right now is suffering, including our countries. But our countries are a bit decent. They're not anywhere good. Narendra Modi. No, I have not really heard of Narendra Modi. Tell me more. Tell me more. Just give me a short synopsis or basically just a short statement. I think I can understand. Okay, there seems to be a free kick somewhere. There seems to be a free kick. Oh, it's an offside. Still regarded as a free kick though. That is still a free kick. Oh. Usually we don't know much about Narendra Modi. We are in Africa, so... Oh, he's your prime minister. That's great, that's great. What does Narendra Modi so far do in your country? So far, what do you think of him in your country? Actually, the most popular person in Africa so far might be Ibrahima... I don't know, what was his name? Ibrahima Traore. Right now, he's busy basically getting rid of French influence in Burkina Faso. I think that might actually be a very good, famous person in Africa, but Africa has many people, man. Yeah, he's doing a good job. That's great. If Narendra Modi is doing a good job, that's great, man. And I also like, I would also like to visit India as well. I mean, if he's doing a good job, that's great. That is really great. I heard that in your country, you have basically banned many things, especially TikTok. TikTok is not really a bad application, but the problem is just how the types of people that use it. And I think that's why it was possibly banned. But yeah, I think if it's going well for you guys, that's good. That's good. So far 1 hour has passed in this game, and so far England hold on to the lead. So there's also Chinese conflict close to your country. There seems to be a lot of conflict close to your country. Let me view the message. This Chinese company. Hide. Oh, you have border issues with Pakistan and China. Oh yeah, China these days have basically been moving a bit wild. I don't know what's up with them. Okay, what is definitely wrong with China? I think basically China wants to have a port next to the ocean. I think that's what's happening here. I think they want to basically have a connective channel to the ocean. China is not basically a country that is well connected with the ocean. But I don't know what's really happening between those two countries. I don't know what is really the point of them occupying a part of India, though. That's just my assumption. I think basically they just wanted to have better trade routes. Because they're basically just like Russia at the moment. I think that's why Russia and Ukraine are also fighting. Because each want to have a part in reaching the ocean. Yeah, you know, those countries are basically landlocked, so it means they don't usually reach the ocean for proper trade routes. But I don't know. You know, it's been a while since I've done geography. Really much good at geography, but I think China is a bit landlocked. Or was it Mongolia? But we have good relations with other neighbors like Nepal, Bhutan, where a visa is not required. Ah, yeah, that's great. That's great, man. That's great. Those are really good relationships to have. Those are really good relationships. Though I don't know much about the cultures in those countries. I don't know much about their cultures though, but I've heard of them. Anyway, I feel very blessed to have people like you in my chat, man. You know, we've been having a really good conversation. Yeah, I'm learning a lot about India, Pakistan, and Indonesia. Thank you for keeping me company, though. You know, when I came to this live, it was all about football. You know, I just came here to talk more about football, but seeing you guys opening up about your countries and me also opening up about Kenya and the rest of Africa is truly quite fulfilling. Even though the whole purpose of this live was basically talking about a game between England and New Zealand. Which for 1 hour, so far, they've basically just scored only one goal. Okay, good night. Good night. Good night, Adi. Good night. I hope I'll see you in one of my lives, though I can't guarantee that. Yeah, start watching the World Cup. It will be a very, very interesting World Cup. This World Cup might be actually the most entertaining because they'll have a lot of games to be played. And the fact that they start in June might actually be a good thing. The problem is where it's hosted. Oh yeah, don't watch the friendlies. You know, the friendlies are basically watching to pass time. Yeah, good night. Good night. If it's morning, you just go and sleep, man. Sleep is good. Yeah. You know, here basically the time is a bit behind, so I'll be able to sleep early, regardless. But yeah, good night. Good night, Adi. Good night. As I watch the remaining 40 minutes of this game. Or is it 20? Because we're headed to the 70th minute. So far, I haven't been able to keep track of the substitutions, but all I know is that the game is going so well. Wow, England have actually completed a lot of passes. Yeah, 400 passes to New Zealand's 100 passes. That is quite impressive. Oh, it's really far. It's really far from Kenya. Well, I don't know how far specifically, but just know it's ridiculously far from Kenya because you have to pass like around 4 countries, or is it 3 countries to reach South Africa? Let's just say you have to pass around 4 countries. You have to pass through Tanzania, you have to pass through Mozambique, you have to pass through Zambia, or basically cut through Zimbabwe, and then you still have to find a way either through Lesotho, or you basically just go direct through South Africa if there's actually a way through Mozambique. just know it's quite far. Remember, Kenya is basically just next to Somalia. Just look at the Horn of Africa. If you look at the Horn of Africa and go down, then you'll see it. Yes, South Africa is actually the richest country in our continent. They actually have an abundance of resources. But the richest country, which is basically being exploited, the richest country that isn't on paper, but in reality is Congo. DRC Congo is the richest. But they call it the poorest country because their resources are always siphoned. But they're the only country which are truly blessed and which are the richest. But if we're talking about just rich, South Africa is just it. On paper, it's South Africa. But in reality, it's DR Congo. And yes, TikTok is actually owned by Chinese companies, but part of their software isn't regulated by them. Part of their software is regulated by the US. In fact, they even have their own version called, I don't know what was its name, but they do have their own version. Oh yeah, in Kenya, yeah, we do get 24/7 electricity in Kenya. Although it does depend with some areas, but yeah, in Kenya here we have so many sources of electricity. We get 24/7 electricity in Kenya, in areas where there is electricity. There are also some areas that don't have electricity at all. Oh, power cuts happen. Power cuts happen. Though very rare, but they do happen. In Kenya, power cuts happen, but very rarely do they seem to happen. Either it's because of somebody not paying tokens, or it's just them acting like a bunch of jerks and switching off the electricity. Because that's what they love to do most of the time. Actually, yeah, I used to study in Nairobi. I studied in Nairobi, but at the moment I'm not living in Nairobi. Right now I am living somewhere inside Kenya, but it's not Nairobi. Though I do have my sister in Nairobi, who at the moment she's still working out her life in Nairobi. I'm actually from a certain place inside Kenya, but it's a bit hard to pronounce. It's a bit hard to pronounce. It seems my game broadcast has basically fallen off just a little bit. I'll have to return it back online. This is what happens when I do things. Oh yes, we are back. We are back. Let me just place this thing well. Okay, England once again. They're trying to keep New Zealand away from their box. Why are a lot of Africans converting from Christianity to Muslim? Well, it's because we realized that Christianity doesn't really offer much. What can I truly say? Christianity doesn't really seem to be offering much. And also, Christianity seems to basically go against most rules of humanity these days. These days, people are not really devout Christians. And the churches that are basically running the propaganda for Christians have basically turned into businesses. If you look at the African churches very well, the Christianity they practice is not pure Christianity. They basically practice prosperity gospel, in the sense that people are actually paying money to think that they will get blessed, but in reality it's just a propaganda to get more money. They're basically taking advantage of the citizens. That's why I think people are trying to convert into Muslim, because they think maybe it's actually a more real religion to them. Yeah, there are a lot of restrictions in the Muslim religion, but I think most people would actually choose it because of the discipline. Muslims are more disciplined than Christians. Christians, they're not the type of people that are not to be that disciplined. You know, this, what can I truly tell you? Christianity is probably 50-50. Like a woman covering her whole body and face. Yeah, I think basically it's not a religion that most women would go for, but I think that it's basically the predominantly in men, but not for the women. In fact, they get prosecuted. The women get prosecuted so much. The women get prosecuted so much. But I think it's mostly the men that basically just want to convert because it's more beneficial to the men. Remember, even in the Muslim, religion, a man can basically marry even up to 4 wives, and I think they're basically in it for that. And also because of the food they get in their festivals or holidays. Muslims usually have a lot of food they give away. For Christians, they basically don't give away that food. Not even in Christmas. Because in Christmas, people usually travel back to their homes to celebrate in our country. They don't usually stay in the cities if you're a Christian. You basically go back home and celebrate. You stop staying in the cities and you stay back in your homes. And mostly all terrorists are Muslims. Okay. Actually, I agree with you. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, it's not really a peaceful religion. That I can agree with you. It's not really a peaceful religion. Yeah. But what can I say? Extremist groups do not really come from religion. They usually come because of other purposes. But yeah, it also does come from religions. But I'm not really so sure about it. In fact, they usually say all those weird things while they're basically dealing with people during the jihad wars, but I'm not really so sure about it being religion. But then again, I don't know. I don't know. Because as much as we may hate them for that, I'm usually not the type of person to judge people so quickly and say, you people are here to kill us because of your religion. I'm just the type of man who just respects people as they are. And in fact, those people who are basically doing terrorism are basically fewer. They're basically less. To me, I think those people who are basically participating in such acts are basically only a few that want to convert so many people. It seems the feature on my YouTube has actually blocked some of their messages, unfortunately. It seems some contents have actually been held aside. Some messages have been held aside. So I don't know if that message has basically gotten in. Maybe try to rephrase it in a way that the algorithm doesn't get triggered. Because so far it has triggered like about 3 or 4. It has triggered almost all of them. So much so that even if I try to view this one, it's basically giving me a message. 99% of terrorism groups in the world are either Pakistan or Pakistan, and they're all Muslims. Now that I don't know. That I actually know it as a fact. I'm actually trying to just run away from the fact that Muslims are terrorists. Yeah. We're usually told to respect other people's religion, but I can truly be honest with you and say such things do happen. Yeah. You're completely right, and I'll not disagree with you. Yeah. Most of those extremist groups come from there. But I don't know, man. There also, I also have a lot of good Muslim friends. But then to tell them that their stuff is usually involved with these things, it's usually a bit hard for me. Whenever somebody brings up stuff to do with the Muslim stuff, I usually just step away because, my honest opinion, I usually don't want to get involved too much with their conflicts. even though they are basically the ones that are basically harming others. It's hard to really understand religions at one point. It's really hard, especially the Muslims. You'll never know whether it's them doing it deliberately or it's just some people who have basically walked aside and decided that they're basically doing this thing because they don't like other religions in the name of, I don't know, Allah or something. But yeah, you're completely correct, man. You're completely correct. I can't even disagree with you at this point. Even I don't know why they exist. I don't know why terrorism groups exist in Muslims. That I just don't know. And so far, England haven't been able to do much. The one goal has basically just held them together. The one goal has just been holding them together. But New Zealand seem to be knocking at the door so much. Good free kick, but the ball is nowhere close. The main purpose is to convert or die. Yeah, it's true. That is the main purpose. The main purpose is basically to convert people. But to me, I think sometimes they also basically do these things for other reasons. And if we start to say it's only because of religion purposes, they might also do these things for another reason. I mean, look at places like Nigeria. They basically do that because they want to basically siphon the little minerals that Nigeria also has. Sometimes they're also involved in corruption cases, a lot of scandals in between. Yeah, like the extremist groups like the Boko Haram. I just don't know much about them. Usually, I can Google these things and find out what they usually do, but to me, I usually don't think it's usually a matter of interest to me. Not unless they've basically been doing a lot of bad things in my country, then I would basically have a way of. In fact, in some extremist areas, it's so bad that they basically mutilate people. They basically mutilate people, which is actually cruel and sad, just because they want them to convert. Yeah, Belgium is a really good team. A good team that has Kevin De Bruyne. They even have Sen Lamens as the goalkeeper. Belgium are a really good team. But Belgium for years have also been struggling. Like even the golden generation that even had Hazard, they still struggled. They just don't have a good foundation. And also the fact that everybody thinks they're a star in that team. I mean, look at players like Lukaku, man. That guy at one point, man, he usually plays like as if he doesn't want to play like a striker. And it seems my device might be out of charge because I've actually moved for a very long time. It seems my device might actually be running low on charge. But luckily we just need 9 minutes. Okay, England once again causing trouble, but ball's not going in. Oh, do you know Diego Forlan Del Piero played in the Indian Football League? Yeah, I think I've heard of that name. I've heard of that name, though I've never really cared to research that much. But I've heard of that name. I have heard of that name. But I never really cared to research that much. Right now my device is a bit low on power, so you'll have to listen to a little part of the game as well. Okay. So far so good from the two sides, but England is the one with the goal. Oh, Del Piero is an Italian legend. Del Piero. Honestly, I've never really heard of that player, Del Piero. I've never really heard of that player. Maybe Maradona, but Piero, I've never really heard of him. The most Italian player that I've basically heard of are very many. Italy dominated 2006 World Cup. Yes, I've also heard that, yeah, they really did dominate in the 2006. But back then I was very young and I didn't really care much about football. Back then I was basically just into cartoons. Yeah, I really didn't care much about football at that point. Maybe I've heard of Luis Figo. But I've heard of Luis Figo. I haven't been able to hear of Del Piero, but I've heard of Luis Figo. The player that moved from Madrid to from Barcelona to Madrid. You know, I've only heard of a few players, man. I've only heard of a few players. You know, yeah, I also know Gigi Buffon, one of the legendary goalkeepers for Italy. Back when Italy was a serious team, right now they can't even seem to qualify for the World Cup. These days they can't really seem to qualify for the World Cup. I don't know if they've even qualified for this edition of the World Cup. If there's one country that I truly feel like they've really let themselves go, it's Italy. Italy back in the day, it was a really good team. It was a very, very stacked team. Even now they're still stacked, but they just don't have good players. Or maybe they have good players, but the way they play football is basically letting them down. In fact, in the Italian league, the Serie A, they're basically defenders. Yeah, they're usually the World Cup side that can't qualify. The World Cup champion that can never seem to qualify. Countries have seemed to bend them over, all because of the little mistakes they make. But who can blame them? They make good defenders, but they don't make good attackers. And even if they do make good attackers these days, it's very rare to see good attackers. But the defenders are really, really good. Italian defenders are really, really good. Like if you watch the Italian league closely, a nil-nil draw is actually a normal result in the Italian league. A nil-nil draw is actually a very normal result in the Italian league. Oh yes, teams like Japan and Korea, I can say they're basically the dark horses. I can see that they're real dark horses, but the way they play these days frightens me. The footballers seem to improve over the years, especially Japan. Japan has been moving like crazy. It has taken down England. It has basically toyed with Brazil. Yeah, basically Japan. I don't know much about Korea. Korea, they're 50-50 to me. They could be good, they could be bad. But Japan, I'm 100% sure it will be the dark horse. In fact, in the last World Cup, they actually did pretty well for themselves. Most people even believe they could even make it to a quarterfinal. I don't know if they ever did though. I think it was last year. I think they got throttled by Croatia, but otherwise those guys were moving mad. I think they they could have gotten a second goal from Anthony Gordon, but fortunately we're at the 86th minute. Now we're moving into stoppage time moments. To be fair, this game didn't seem that exciting as I thought it would be. Okay, there are smaller than one Indian state and still qualified for the World Cup. They can't even compete. Teams, they're so good. Yeah, it's very true. Japan is a very good team. Yeah, and also Korea, they're very good teams, despite them being smaller than India. To me, I think the thing that basically kills Indian football is just corruption. If the corruption could just be lowered in India, who knows, maybe India might actually stand a fighting chance. And also in Kenya, we don't even have our own coaches. We basically use a coach from South Africa called Benny McCarthy. That is why Kenya recently have actually been becoming very well. That's why even in the FIFA rankings have actually been climbing a bit high. And also because it seems the Football Federation in India for a while they basically had some restrictions on India. That's why you'd probably never see Indian play football in the European leagues. Okay, our last best result against a quality side was losing 0-2 to Australia. Yeah. That is really sad. That is really sad from India. Because if that is your best result, even us in our worst time, we at least beat Morocco. And we even beat some countries from the European side, but I don't really think those countries really do matter at this point. There's some countries that really don't matter, but we did beat them. The problem is that it's very rare to see good moments in Kenya. But don't worry. Very soon India might actually come back, but I don't know at the moment. I don't know what is up with the football in India, man. Like, I've never seen an India player play for Europe. And even if they've played for Europe, it's very rare to see them. In fact, I've never even seen one. Can you care to explain that one? Because to me, I've always wanted to understand, why are there no Indians playing football in Europe? In the past, I heard that the football federation in India was a bit strict, and I don't know what was the cause. Okay. Our best football player was Sunil Chetri. Played one match against Manchester United. Wow, that's actually amazing. Wow, that's actually cool. That is actually cool. Because if that's your best footballer and you have told me today, I'm actually learning a lot about Indian football. Though that is only like one player. I think I've heard this name, you mentioned it before. I mean, if he has played one match against Manchester United, that's great, even if right now he's playing in the US. So are there really any other players playing outside India, or is just him? Because I think I'll do a quick Google search and learn more about him. I will do a quick Google search and learn more about why India is not regarded, for European clubs to basically get. Kenya, we basically have European players. Okay, he's the third highest goal scorer after Messi and Ronaldo. That's great, man. That's great. If he's the third highest goal scorer, I'll do my Google and check it out. I will Google and check it out. Hopefully, if there's another live stream like this, I'll basically take my time and learn more about Indian football. Because basically at the moment I just know much about my country's football. And yeah, we also do have some pretty good players in Europe. Just that at the moment they are not really in bigger clubs. They basically just play for the lower league clubs. I think Kenya and India have a similar problem, which is corruption. If these two countries can basically stop corruption, imagine how far they could go. Imagine how far they could go. But yeah, I will check for Sunil Chetri. When I had a pen somewhere to write that name. But I think I'll just remember, for the sake of my friend, Anta. I can tell you one thing, this second half is really dragging on. It's just 4 minutes, but it feels like an eternity. It feels like an eternity. Because the amount of chances England have had against New Zealand is insane. And they only got away with it with one goal from Harry Kane, which wasn't really a very complicated one. Okay, another legend is Baichung Bhutia. His farewell match was against Bayern Munich. They came to play in India for him. Man, that is very nice, man. If Bayern Munich can basically come to India to play just for him. That's very nice, man. Baichung Bhutia. I don't know what is it with the Indian names, man. They're usually a bit. It's not that they're long, but in a way, the wording in their names, man, it's a bit crazy. Frank Ribery, Oliver Kahn, everyone came. Oh, that must have been a really good reunion, especially for Oliver Kahn and Frank Ribery. Ah, that's a very good reunion. If only Indian football could be explained better. If only Indian football could be explained better. Otherwise, I'm learning more about the legends of India in football. Most of the time, I've basically seen India basically participating in cricket, though I'm not really a fan of cricket. More like playing tennis, but I just don't know much about it. I've never even known the difference between cricket and baseball, though. That's the problem. Because they look so similar, but the difference is cricket has a wider bat. But yeah, Baichung Bhutia and Chetri. What was his first name? I suddenly remember Chetri. And it seems the game is over. The game is over between England and New Zealand, and it's 1-0 from that hurricane goal. Oh. Oh, there's also Messi if you visit in your country. That's great, man. Oh yeah, Sunil Chetri. Yeah. Remind me to check that name up. I'm going to search for Sunil Chetri and Baichung. Was it Baichung? Baichung? Baichung Bhutia. Yeah, Sunil Chetri and Baichung Bhutia. And let's just say Baichung. Anyway, this is why I have to end it. Because the game is already over and that was my purpose here. But thank you for accompanying me through this live. The game between England versus New Zealand. Hopefully I'll see you next time on my new feed. On my new live, if we ever meet again. Thank you for coming.